Good afternoon, good afternoon again, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Spilling Tea. I'm your host, Tiffany Daniels. We are going back to that horrible world known as the JRC, but before we do, real quick, a few brief disclaimers. If you're unfamiliar with the Stop the Shocks campaign or the campaign against the troubled teen industry, you're going to find all the pertinent links right there in the description box. Please, in particular, take note of the article written by NeuroClastic, a small non-for-profit started by autistics for autistics. In it, they interviewed over 800 ABA professionals regards to the JRC's so-called behavior modification program. The Judge Rotenberg Educational Center doesn't want you to read that article so much. They threatened NeuroClastic with a defamation lawsuit if they did not remove it from the website. NeuroClastic refused. You know the drill. Please read the article. Share on all your social media. Also included in there is NeuroClastic's public statement regards to the defamation lawsuit threat, as well as a link to their GoFundMe. We are crowdfunding just in case the JRC ever actually does see through with their threat. Trigger warning 1: when we discuss places like the Judge Rotenberg Educational Center and Agape Boarding School for Boys, you're going to hear vivid descriptions of and catch clips or surveillance footage of people with mental health issues and disabled people being tortured and abused. If you got young children present, please make sure to use the headphones. Trigger warning 2: this channel is marked not for kids for a reason. We use profanity on occasion. Okay, baby, a lot. I was raised by a truck driver. Sue me. And we do speak on dark subjects. If your child is 16 and younger and you're watching this, very obviously parental supervision is advised, all right? Okay, so where we left off the other day, as we recognized in the proposed rule, multi element positive methods such as PBS, can I please call it its real name? Positive behavioral supports is a vague term that is an umbrella term for several types of different treatment programs. In fact, person centered planning falls under that umbrella. What we are discussing here is positive behavioral reinforcement, which is, although underneath that umbrella, is a bit of a complete different animal. All right. Can we please get our terminology correct? The rest of the planet is not as educated as I am. For the love of God, use the terms they are familiar with. Sorry, just had a little bone to pick there. Or dialectical behavioral therapy, DBT, span several categories of intervention for a wide variety of purposes. Likewise, the term positive can apply to many different treatment modalities. The JRC is trying to be clever and just once again failing at life. They use terms like PBS, for which people cannot get licensings or certifications, because it's an umbrella term. Okay? PBS in and of itself is not a treatment program. It is an umbrella term in which a few different treatment programs fall under in regards to positive behavioral supports. Okay? Of course, there isn't going to be certification or licensing for that. It's too broad and vague of a term. What you get certifications and licensing for is for a treatment program in particular. I was certified for person centered planning. Okay. And I still renew it in spite of not still working for the state for obvious reasons. Positive behavioral reinforcement also falls under that umbrella. The JRC is notorious for using vague ass terms to attack programs it doesn't understand. They group it under all together and say there's no licensing or certification. You fucking think, Sherlock? You think? That's because it's an umbrella term. Think of it like neurodiversity. Okay? As you know, neurodivergent and neurodiversity is in reference as an umbrella term that encompasses autism, ADHD, Down syndrome, schizotypal, and several others, with including PDD and OS, which for some reason they is still kept as a diagnosis. PDD and OS essentially stands for, in layman terms, we don't know what it is, but it's autistic like, so this is the name. Okay? You can't get licensing for an umbrella term. All right? It's a category. It's literally a category of treatment programs. What they won't tell you is every single one of those treatment programs require licensing and certification out of your ears before you can even meet a consumer face to face for the first time. I had to undergo all of it when I first came in. In fact, I was thrown headlong. Like, as soon as I came into office, I didn't even get to see what my office actually looked like before I was getting hauled off to Indianapolis for, yeah, conference right away. Ask if I was in shock. The point is, it's an umbrella term. Of course, there's no licensing or certification. But for the treatment programs that are underneath that vague umbrella term, they absolutely do require certification and licensing. Underneath that umbrella, positive behavioral reinforcement is the biggest one. Positive behavioral reinforcement is considered the gold standard. It requires licensing and certifications that are looked over by a board of individuals before you're even able to see a consumer face to face. Very much unlike JRC, who actually allows you to start being direct care staff one on one after a week of training and certifications and so called licensing that don't even meet their state standards. Okay, let's continue because I like debunking their bullshit. This does not, however, mean that positive approaches are vague or ill defined, because they're not. It is completely and very orderly, much to my autistic delight, categorized, defined, all of it, okay? The parameters within their own treatment programs are very well solid set and known by everyone who practices in the field, okay? You can't use an umbrella term to attack an entire system of treatments and sit there and say, but with the umbrella term, there's no licensing for that. Duh, genius. You think? There's no certification in neurodiversity either. You want to know why? Because it's an umbrella term under which several disabilities fall into. PBS is exactly that same type of terminology. So don't let these idiots confuse you, okay? They think they're clever, but they're see-through as glass. To the contrary, a large body of scholarship as well as broad institutional support informs the use of multi-element positive approaches like PBS. Can we stop with the bullshit? I'm sorry, FDA. I'm sorry, but as always, I have to clean up a little bit of your mess here. You have to remember that the general public is not as educated as we are on this subject. They do not understand the concept that PBS is an umbrella term. You cannot use it in positive behavioral reinforcement interchangeably. One is a term used to categorize a set of different treatment programs. The other one is the actual treatment program itself. Please stop with the bullshit. Okay? Positive behavioral supports is widely supported. as are many of the umbrella treatment programs that fall underneath it. They are the industry standard, but the reason why the JRC gets away with this argument is because you continue to insist to reply to them with their own terms. The layman out on the street is not going to know any better. I know better. Most of my compadres know better, but because we've either been through it or we've been in the field, or in many cases, myself and several others were both. Okay? Stop replying using the JRC's terminology. Please use the official terminology. You're confusing people. Okay? They don't know about all this categorization. They just go into the doctor and hope they know what the fuck they're doing. Okay? I wanted to clear it up because obviously it's annoying, if you can tell. Extremely, extremely annoying. The point is positive behavioral reinforcement, and we're going to use the proper term on this channel, is considered the industry standard, not just in the United States, but around the world. Okay? It is the gold standard. As much problems as there are with the so called gold standard, please use correct terminology for the love of God. You are a public department. You've got to realize that the common person on the street won't know the difference between PBS and positive behavioral reinforcement. They won't. You can't use them interchangeably. You're just confusing people. And this is how the JRC continues to score points, because you're so busy playing their game, you forget that when you put this crap out here like this, they're not going to know what the hell you're talking about. Okay? If this were not a special interest of mine, as well as working in it and having gone through the system, I wouldn't know these things. Okay? But I guess that's my job on this small channel, to make it more simple and help you understand a few things, because people like this never explain them to you. So you read the arguments and they make no coherent sense. So, what I want you to take from this is a few things. First of all, yes, positive behavioral reinforcement is the current standard of treatment, not just in the United States, but around the world. Not to be used interchangeably with positive behavioral supports, which again is an umbrella term for a host of different treatment programs that rest underneath it. Okay? I have this bone to pick because the JRC is absolutely notorious for trying to make you think they're interchangeable. Because you can very much say there is no licensing or certifications for PBS, because it's an umbrella term to help with categorizing treatment programs. Not a treatment program in and of itself. It's not something you can be certified in any more than neurodiversity is something you can be certified in. There's no degrees that exist for PBS because, again, it's an umbrella term. All right? Don't let any of that confuse you. And to the FDA, as much as I'm on your side, my pet peeve is you can't argue with these people using their own vague terminology. Okay? Because you pretty much seem like, just make it make sense to people, all right? That's my beef. That's all I'm asking. Because Joe Schmo on the street out there is not going to know the difference between PBS and PBA. Well, positive behavioral reinforcement. So I guess that would be PBR. Sorry, it's been a minute and I've not had more caffeine yet. And they're doing it to confuse you on purpose. They want to discredit us, which means literally the rest of planet Earth that's ever worked in this field. If they use vague terms and because they sound similar enough, the neurotypical brain might believe that they're synonymous is how they get away with this shit. My job is to break it down for you all so you know what PBS actually is, the fact that it's not interchangeable as alternative wording for positive behavioral reinforcement, but is actually an umbrella term. So I can once again show you how full of shit the JRC is, how shady they are, and how clever they think they are when they very much are not. All right. We're going to close on that, folks. We don't get very many views on this channel, and the few we do tend to get removed from time to time. So you know the drill. Please don't forget to hit the like button, hit subscribe, and don't forget to hit the comments. I appreciate your time. As always, folks, we here at Spilling Tea hope you have a good one. I'll see you again here in a few minutes. Bye-bye, everyone.